I saw you at the walk yesterday looting and shit at the Croc store.
I sure was.
I saw it.
I sure was.
I didn't even know you wore Crocs.
Called my mom fast. I was like, what size you wear?
You got started off, you called us here. You know what I mean?
Nah,
like Carol's going to self-destruction. He started off.
I wanted to know what y'all thought about it, because
about what?
I like some of it, and some of it I don't like.
About what? Protest?
Yeah, with the protests and the looting.
Yeah. See,
what do you like about the protests? I need to get into that.
Protests?
I hate protests.
Huh?
Not like a Salafi, but I hate them. But I want to hear what you got to say.
I actually think that. Excuse me. I think it makes a good statement, like a political statement. I think that, and on that level, I like the fact that all over the world, people are standing up and voicing their opinions about this shit, because it's like everybody's fed up on it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I don't agree with some of the stuff that's going on, especially tearing up your own neighborhoods and stuff. But I don't really see a lot of that. I saw a little bit in Philly yesterday, but for the most part, most of the things I've been seeing have been people looting and tearing up shit that we don't own. And they don't care about that. So for them, it's nothing but a write-off, an insurance claim. And, I don't think that makes a long-lasting impression, but we already know that we're not organized as a people, not even just as Muslims, as Black people. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, that's a whole nother step that we do need to do. But eventually, I don't really see how we can get so much organized until we get some paper even. You know what I mean? Like, people got to learn how to make money. But my reason for wanting to do this is because everybody, I know all of y'all have different opinions. That's why I wanted specifically Shu, and I wanted Idris to come too, because y'all both in law enforcement. So it's your perspective and your opinions on it. But that, to me, that's what's needed more. Like, I'm just a nigga with some clippers, so like my opinion don't really mean nothing.
You ain't been in law enforcement? Oh nah, man. I'm gonna have to step up out of this joint. Hold up.
my opinion is I'm kind of in the middle of both of y'all. See, I think that a protest is, I don't know if I agree with it, whether it's gonna make a difference, but hey, if you feel like protesting, even if you feel like interfering with the normal way of people get around, like interfering with traffic and all that, right? I think it's fine because you're trying to get somebody's attention. But I think there needs to be a clear distinction between protesters and looters. Looting is not a part of protesting. It is
right.
It's what happens when somebody protests, because you have people who want to steal. They take advantage of the opportunity, right? It's not as if a part of a protest is we're going to state our points, then we're going to run off and steal sneakers and shirts and jackets and whatever. That's not a part of it. And I think to make excuses for those people as if you're defending the protesters is a mistake, because they're not the protesters. People who went out there to protest out of a sincere desire to see change and sincere pain from George Floyd's death and the other African-American men and women who've been killed by police officers unjustly. I think people that went out for that purpose, they weren't sidetracked by trying to steal something, because they were there for a purpose. You're hurt. You're upset. You're not seeing a open store as an opportunity to take something. But people who were stealing and looting, they weren't there for that purpose. They might have been there watching. They might have been there hanging around, but they weren't there for the same reason as the protesters. And I think that people who criticize the looters are not criticizing the protesters. And I think people who support the protesters, they feel like they are, so they are defending looters in any way possible, but it's not the same thing. You don't get upset about something and then steal something. You're not mad about an injustice and at the same time running off into liquor stores and stealing alcohol. You're not running off and driving away with 5 boxes of sneakers you stole from the store. That's not because of you're not emotionally upset. So you're like, oh, I'm gonna steal from Foot Locker. No, that doesn't make sense. And I think you give people an excuse to feel like their thievery is okay. If you back them and say they're just upset, everybody's fed up. Nah, if you're upset, I can see that explanation does make sense for people breaking windows, for people destroying property, right? Because they're acting out of anger. Not saying I agree with it, but I can understand it. But looting, which is just stealing, right? Just stealing during a riot, that to me, there's no emotional anger. That's just, you're caught up in the emotions of selfishness. Like, oh damn, I'm about to come up. Let me go in here and take this. I think that's what I disagree with. I understand the riots, the protests. I get that, and that's going to happen when people feel like the system is not doing what it's supposed to do. I felt that way when I was in the private sector, when Trayvon Martin's murderer was found not guilty, right? I felt like that would only happen to an African-American victim with someone who's either white or can pass off as white, like Zimmerman was, right? Or Zimmerman is. That's the anger I felt and the emotions I felt then. But that didn't drive me to say, when I go out there, I'm running into a store and stealing something in the middle of the protest. Nah, right? So that's how I feel about it. I think the people who are looting in the middle of this are doing a disservice to the people who are trying to have their message heard, because what it does is it kind of shadows, or it gives people a reason to ignore. Some people don't want to know the truth. They don't want to pay attention. They don't want to care, or they don't care. So now you give them a reason to ignore those people who are either protesting peacefully or protesting with aggression, but they're not doing things that are selfish, right? I think it's selfish to steal and run home with just stuff that doesn't have anything to do with anything, right? It's like, and some of the videos that I watched were just, it was disgusting, because you were just taking advantage. You used his death and people marching for his death. You use that as an opportunity to go and do what you wanted to do anyway. So.
Well, I know what Shuaib said is true, because here in Atlantic City, the initial protest started at 1, and then it was over by like 3 o'clock, and then the majority of the people that was part of the protest, they left. And the only people that was left was the people that was there to, steal and stuff. So it was a difference. So when people started figuring out that they're coming in and try to do other things, they started going back and try to repel them. Like 80% of the looters that was here in Atlantic City aren't even from Atlantic City. 20% aren't. Yeah. So that's, you know what I mean? Some of them come there with the sole intent to loot and do things like that and just steal. They don't be. I seen that from the protest here in Atlantic City. I was like, they not here for that reason.
You sound like
Alee. What's going on?
Go ahead, Haneef. What you saying?
No, Alee, we were just talking about our thoughts on the events that have taken place, so everything from Floyd to the protests and everything. Want to hear what Alim has to say? I know what I'm going to say, but I just want to hear,
You're going to get the anchor, Imam. Don't worry about it.
No.
It's different
groups. Yeah, you cannabis in this cipher, man. You're getting the anchor.
Yeah, right.
I think it's different groups out there. So you got one group that want to protest. You got, quote unquote Antifa or whoever it is that, that come out there and spark the fire, and then another group that's just looking to grab some free stuff. So I mean, I got firsthand accounts of that. You had a crowd out there.
You got some free stuff? What you mean you got some free stuff? What you talking about?
Nah, I've been told by people that were on the scene.
Okay.
That you had the regular protesters out there. For the people that was protesting in other areas, they was just treating it like it was a party, from what I hear. Like it was the Greek or something out there, just to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, later on in the afternoon, you had groups of white people come out, start cracking stuff open, and then once that started, it's just all downhill from there.
Yeah, that happened here because the part that don't show in the media was that at the Walmart in EHT, this is Egg Harbor Township, that it's people that said that they had busloads of people they was dropping off over there specifically just for that.
What's he gonna do? Yeah.
People I work with, some of my coworkers was telling me like, no, they was out there, man, waiting to loot Walmart.
Yeah.
So you had that type of group, like you said, and then it was a mess, man. But they didn't show that part because the majority of those people was white.
Right.
They only showed the part that took place in Atlantic City.
See, it's hard for me to look at it without trying to figure out, okay, what is the big picture here? Like, what is really happening here? Because this isn't the first time we had this type of situation where, you know, a black person is unjustly killed by the cops. It isn't the 10th time, it's the 20th time. It's something that's just been part of our history here in this country. And this is actually, this situation is considered nowhere near the worst we've experienced here, you know, as black people, right? So I guess I kind of believe the answer to most of our problems is in some form of, has to come in some form of segregation or segregationalism, like not of course, under the apartheid system in America or something like that. But I mean, black people taking ownership of our community, our situation, and building a type of community that would be that would provide us all the things that we're looking for them to give us. If you understand what I'm saying, I just see the problem not changing so long as we decide that we're going to like live amongst them, especially as Muslims, even more. But I'm trying to just talk about black people, and I know that joint is just difficult. That one is difficult. But to me, it isn't really separated because I believe that we should be the leaders of black people. I believe that's like our divine mission. I mean, everybody might not agree with that, but I do believe that's what we're supposed to be doing, but we're not doing it. So that's another problem. But at any rate, when it comes to like us, we have to be very, we have to at some point have this conversation that deals with how we're going to what extent do we consider ourselves involved? And the reason I'm bringing this up seriously, today, the people are sharing this statement from some Somali Imam or something, who's saying like he don't give a damn basically about what black people are going through. Like,
Yeah.
Anybody hear this first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the what did he say?
He said that
his voodoo, wallahi, yeah, go ahead.
He said that the dude,
you may be able to run it down, but
he said that the part of your sock is more important than to worry about this black man dying.
Right. That's more important to him. Wiping the bottom of the sock is more important than the black man dying. Now, see, this is what I'm saying, right? We have to accept that's how these motherfuckers think. Like for real. And I'm not saying every Somali is like that, but just typically they care about their community and their community's issues, right? And what he's probably trying to do is stop the Somali, because there's a big Somali community in Minnesota. So they're probably, feeling some type of way about what happened, and he wants to keep them, from probably getting involved more than likely. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, I've come to accept that's how the Somali community is. I'm not saying they hate us or anything, but they're more concerned about their community.
Yeah.
We talked last time when we had a Zoom like this about how the Pakistanis are similar, how the Arabs are similar, and all of that, right? But we're the only community. I'm serious. I'm debating with imams about whether or not we should embrace some form of like asabiya amongst ourselves, and I think it's absurd. I think it's absolutely absurd that we're the only ones talking this kumbaya type of stuff that nobody believes in. They'll let us talk it, but like they don't believe it. Like I told you, right, last time when I had the discussion with Sheikh Abdul from Zaytuna or whatever on my page, there's a Pakistani brother, right, that read the thread. He inboxed me, right? He inboxed me saying, I agree with you. You're right. He said, us in Bangladesh, he said, I'm from Bangladesh, and, we just keep our money amongst ourselves so that way we don't have to depend on the government. He says, that's what we do. He says, it's not that we don't consider racist. We don't think we're better than anybody. But we feel like this is what you have to do, right? Like, everybody gets this. Chinese people get it. Indonesian people get it. Turks get it. Like, when I was in Egypt, like, Turks definitely had their own building where their students lived, where they were just funded by Turkish money and put money into their scholarship program so that they can go back to Turkey and be the scholars there. It's like me and Noah and a couple others, the only people there. They ain't got no damn like backing. We had to work in a damn school with these badass Egyptian kids in order to just try to study. Because like we got people in America that be like, Achi, you want to go through the struggle because that, this builds stronger Imam and all that. This is the type of stuff people would say. Like on my thread when I brought it up, is one thing brother said, there's a beauty in the struggling, because he brings up how Imam Ahmed Hanbal had to work and all this other shit. Like, it's like these people it's like we got some real retard. Or not gonna say that. We have people that just don't get it.
No,
and to me, it's all connected.
I think what you trying to say, Imam Haneef, is that it's people that's textual and people that's not dealing with reality. They still in book land.
It's textual, but really, I think it's deeper than that. I think they don't want it. It's a form of not dealing with your responsibility, right? Like in other words, okay. It's easy to just learn Islam and all of that, because when you're black, honestly, you're born into a certain type of you're born into a certain community with certain issues and all that. And if you're going to make a contribution, that would be to the black community. But it's easy to just become Muslim and feel like you have no more connection to that, have no obligation to it or anything.
Yeah.
To me, it's just like a man not stepping up to his duties. To me, it's a form of that. Right, and I think that's part of what's happening. Like that black thing is deep, is complicated, is hard, and some people don't want to deal with it. But anyway, with regards to the protesting and all that kind of stuff, I'm just talking definitely about that. I didn't go straight at it. The reason I'm not really for that methodology when dealing with the government is because I believe we need to focus on building our community, holding our own community accountable, raising our own families. Because when I went out there and I saw looting yesterday around 52nd Street, what I saw was young black kids who not mentioning anything. They aren't mentioning anything about Floyd's death or anything like that. First of all, that police brutality took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's number one, right? Why are you tearing up Philadelphia? Because something happened in Minnesota. Like people in Minnesota, I can understand looting there. I can't, because that was that police force who oppressed that man, killed that man. So I can understand the anger right there, and not saying that I support the looting, but I understand it. But does that prompt, we need to be looting in every city, as if every police force is following the same state laws and regulations and city methods of training and all of that kind of stuff.
But
that's ridiculous.
To be fair though, I agree with you, but a lot of this stuff, motherfuckers is just fed up. Like, because there is police brutality in Atlantic City, in Philly, in LA, and so what happens, they probably looking now and saying, this is just the argument. Here's my chance, because they're gonna actually have a protest and say something. Here's my chance to make my frustration heard. And maybe y'all to change some shit after that. And
all right, now I want to talk about that. This is what I'm saying, right?
mm-hmm.
See that all that shit right there. I just tired of like, all right, because this is what it's saying to me, right? That's like a child whose parents is just are not treating them the way they want to be treated. Their parents unfair, they're beating them, and you're just having a temper tantrum, calling out. Like, I want to get to the point where we're not looking at these, I'm talking as a Muslim, these kafirs for real, as like our damn parents that's taking care of us. Like,
you're right.
At some point, you gotta, when you build your own and you operating kind of like how them damn Yahoos is in Brooklyn, or how like the Chinese are and stuff like that. Now, Chinese, they get fucked up in China, no doubt about it. But like, as far as the way they operate here, they got their whole setup, a Chinatown in every damn city. They making money off of busing people from New York to Washington. We already know what they got, right? Mm-hmm. So they're just operating from a different like level, different plateau. Like, see, protesting to me is still this acknowledgement of I need you to help. It's a cry for help. Like, it drives me crazy when CNN says, well, these people, they're crying out for help. They want to be heard. Their frustrations, they want help, right? I'm trying to steer our people to completely get out of that whole paradigm. Right. Because that just, you're never going to get the respect you're looking for.
The thing
because
is,
it's
right?
Like,
but this what I've been saying, right? I don't agree with the looting, none of that shit. I ain't really big on protesting either, but I understand why it happens, right?
Oh yeah.
Why does looting happen?
This motherfucker, why the fuck not?
The
same reason why
does it happen?
Right? Hold up. 2 years ago, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and they tore that bitch up down there, didn't nobody say nothing. It was all white folks.
First of all, yeah, that's true. But people did say stuff. People were like, "Why do you champ the city? That's stupid." Nobody was saying like, "Yes, break it."
The president didn't get on TV and call them some fucking savages and why y'all doing? You didn't hear none of that. It was just those some crazy kids, man.
Here's the thing. So why are drunk people who are celebrating something that is meaningless? Why is that the standard for behavior? They're doing that in a meaning. Listen to what I'm saying.
Agree.
That's occurring during a meaningless thing, a celebration for a game. This is a serious protest about a serious issue, right? So why during that time do you take that opportunity to start looting? Like, why?
I do agree. I'm just telling you, I understand why it happens, and fuck it. So what?
I can understand it. I can understand it in Minnesota. Like, straight up, I can understand it there.
Yeah.
You understand it everywhere.
I'm gonna tell downtown Philly.
Let's be specific. When you say you can understand what happening, maybe we're I'm
what
talking
I mean
about
is,
stealing. I'm not talking about I can see destroying stuff. You're mad.
Look, and I'm not saying I'm not
your food. The cops are sitting on the sidewalk. They don't care. You got the good opportunity to do whatever you want.
Let me tell you what I saw when I was in Philly. You're actually right, Alee.
Makes no sense.
When I was in Philly on Saturday, right, and
I believe they let them do it, but
they did let them do it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Listen,
the thing is, you have
when
to
I was
let them
down
do it.
there,
You can't intervene.
Look, I was on
intervene with the mob?
Rubber bullets. I'd have tore them out the frame.
If you intervene with the mob who's running into stores, it's going to get so violent and out of control. You have to let it happen. There's nothing else you can do. You have to let it happen.
So that's why they're doing it.
Look,
but that's stupid.
That's why they're doing it.
It makes no sense.
Yo, I'm gonna show you something. Right?
There's Nikes out there, iPads, man.
What means more to you, this material stuff or the fact that this guy died unjustly? So you forget about his death and why you're there to steal stuff.
But the people I saw was niggas. They're just young niggas who just don't have parents.
Exactly.
That's what I saw.
Look, when I was out there, I'm on Walnut Street, right? Walnut, Chest, that whole area. They out there breaking everything. But at the same time, what was different, they was sharing. It wasn't like people was out there, yo, man, I got Jordans for sale. Niggas was like, yo, you want some Jordans? You want an iPad? Like, yo, at one point, I was right in front of Urban Outfitters, right? And we was in front of Urban Outfitters, and they broke in there. They was running out of there all kind of clothes and shit, right? And then they set a mannequin on fire in front of them, right? So they set the shit on fire, and then they set a mannequin on fire inside the store. So everybody's like, yo, get outside the store, come out the store. Yo, I seen a white man go in the store, and he said, yo, everybody get out. And he just stood in there, and he threw shit out to everybody. Like, don't worry, I don't want nobody catch on fire in here. I'm gonna throw this shit out to y'all, right? And right in front of the Apple store, like I said, they left a cop car there. Now, here's the thing that killed me. This is why I know some of this shit was set up, right? Why the fuck is there an abandoned cop car in the middle of Walnut Street on fire? Like, they didn't like get the cops and chase them out. Like, they let them do that shit.
So it was like we had to do it. Like, we couldn't help it. Cop car there, gotta burn it.
Yeah, there was cops on every single corner, just chilling, watching this shit. And so when I went around,
you know what the cynic in me believes. I believe all this is just to get Trump out of office. I do believe.
It is. That's the point I was getting to. This whole thing is a political response to him.
But what I care about is black people. So I'm not going too deep into that. You know what I mean? It's still no excuse for our behavior. You know, the behavior of our youth. You know what I mean? But like I said, man, I want to get out of this whole mentality where we feel like, you know, they're our parents and we need them and all of that, and just start like this is what I'm saying. This is a question. I was about to put this on Facebook, but I felt like I was gonna insult so many motherfuckers. It's the only reason I didn't. But I was gonna ask a serious question. Why is it that the traditional Sunni movements in America, because people tell me, hey, we had matches back in 1920s, 1940s, all this. All right, I just want to know, why is it that they never built anything like organized that can compete with like what the Nation of Islam did? Oh, pure shirk and kufr. I just want to pose a question. Like, I mean, people do be blaming, but yeah, man, you know, man, look, man, he loved it. I got 3 generations and Muslims and all this kind of stuff and all that, and that's good. Alhamdulillah, you're right. When people tell the history of Islam in America, people don't mention them. And the reason why is because people respect institutions. They respect actual organization. They respect those are the things that go down in history books. Just the fact that some people took Shahada, but they ain't really do nothing much with it that is remembered.
Right.
People, that stuff don't get written down. You just get low. But I wonder why. What was the difference? What was their secret? You know, really. And I believe a part of it was they embraced some form of asabiyya. I really believe that. They embraced some form of asabiyya, whereas the Sunnis always just deny it. The black Sunnis, for some reason, feel like part of being Muslim has to be this acceptance of kumbaya with everybody. And kumbaya is the goal, it's the ideal, no doubt. That's what Islam is going to give. If you have taqwa, you're not going to just think you're better than somebody because you're black or anything like that. That is just not it. But you have to understand the idea of, okay, spending money within your community, having a common pot that you're like utilizing, that you have to have a common culture goal. I mean, you already had that stuff anyway. That's what gets me. It's so ridiculous. You already had a damn culture and all of that. So you might as well, you had to capitalize on that. If for nothing else, it's bodies, it's people, it's a sort of strength with it. You can galvanize it. I really want to understand, because I remember Sheikh Haneef used to always tell me this story, whatever, right? You all know Sheikh Haneef, 52nd Street, and he'd be on 6th Street and all that old head. Came up with him, my house and everybody. He's always telling me this story of when Elijah Muhammad and them were going to come. They were coming to Philly. So they said, no, these dudes ain't going to come up in here and do that. You know what I mean? We're going to tear their ass up, right? When they came down to the convention center to give a talk. So they talking about how they was going to run up on them and all this kind of stuff, right? He said, we got up in there, right? And then across the street, He said, man, when we saw them niggas like lined up, like he said it was like 300-400 of them, right? He said, right? Then he said we saw one of them come out there, Lieutenant did some little move. He said, he said he saw them do some move, like all in unison and all that. He said, hell no. He said, man, we ain't messing with these dudes. He's like, yo, these dudes organized. You about to get the hell up out of here. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is, why is it that the Nation of Islam is able to get that done, able to take the same black people you dealing with, same pool of people, and get them to be organized, obeying this one dude? Like he was talking about, like, to get to Elijah Muhammad. Like he always admired that joint. He was like, to even, because he remembers when, like, I think it was 60 Minutes interviewed him or whatever. He said to even get to him, it's like the Nation was like, they're gonna take him into a door. They're gonna have people patting him down. You got to go through this corridor. They go up this way, go to another corridor. Just before you get to him, you so damn impressed. Like, wow, like all this stuff like that these guys did, how organized they are. He's like, they were able to tap into that, you know, which is what we need. But
yeah, you gotta have. I mean, if you look at the time, he understood the psyche of black people, man. You create a mystical figure, you know, somebody that's, you know, that's like, you know, beyond you, but at the same time, he knew how to reach the people. You know, they call him the Lamb, and he had a thing about him where, you know, he kept it simple. Come on, black man, clean yourself up, take care of your family, do this, that, and the other. He gave them something, and he made them feel like that they were a part of something. Right. And that's what we gonna need, man. You know, and it don't even have to be on no racism stuff, man. You know, meet people where they are and give them something where they feel like they're part of something, and you'll have soldiers all day long, man.
Same thing.
You know, you have soldiers all day long.
Marcus Garvey did it the same way. With the
the same thing.
Yeah, he actually copied his joint, his blueprint.
Yeah, no, man, this rioting stuff, man, it's just like, I understand the rage, you know, because it's just natural for us to see this stuff, man, but, you know, we got to find a way to take that energy and kindle it, man, you know, because a fire that's controlled, man, has more energy than one that's out of, you know, that's a wildfire. We just too reactionary as a people, you know, and we got to just strategize, man, like, you know, I mean, we've been watching these white folks our whole existence over here, man, and we haven't copied their thing right yet. You know, they did their savagery and their barbaric behavior in a way that was a purpose behind it. They got power, they got control, they got authority. That's why they did it. It wasn't personal. You know, they wanted to take over a nation, and they killed you, they burned you, they pillaged, they plundered, they raped, because they had an agenda. We need to set an agenda, and it got to be one agenda. You know, like the Yahoo, they had one agenda, never again. And every person that ascribes to that, they under the same agenda, even if they differ with each other. They got the same agenda: Israel, Israel, Israel. That's what we need,
man. Like, you know, just to add to that, you know, for the one agenda thing. That's why I be like, I telling brothers, like, you want to vote, you know, that's fine, but what you got to understand about those people, the Democrats and Republicans, at the end of the day, they come together against you. You know what I mean? Like, they on one accord. Like, they might even, like you said, they differ, but they agree as far as, like, you know, this is our government, this is what we are. And people, you know, we got to understand that, man. You know, like, I don't even advocate dealing with that, unless it's local or something you can really have real influence with. You know, I don't advocate pushing people all into that stuff, man. And the real important vote is voting on who's going to lead us amongst ourselves. Yeah. And that be the person, the election we're going to rest.
That's going to be a problem with us, because we're going to be like, we're going to feel like he's not fit to lead.
You know, we always going to have that problem, but I think that probably the most efficient way is to have a solid economic program.
Yeah.
A solid economic program where our people can see some of the fruits of economics and something to offer them. Yeah. Because, you know, you put money in people's pocket and food on their table, you're not going to get a lot of resistance. But we have all these ideologies coming together, and everybody's going to have their opinion, everybody's going to have their view, some people want to sit. But that money, you know, when we got it working together, it helps us out a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, that's what the man. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
we
need
was
to
talking
get
about
ready to
earlier.
go off. You got me ready to go off, man. I'm getting ready to go in the Pacific Ocean with you, brother. I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, but it's just we really gotta have that kind of project, man. You know what I mean? Because our people, we just too displaced, man. You know,
Yeah.
as soon as you put up an idea, man, you know, people ready to shoot it down, ready to differ you, and it's frustrating. You know, I was listening to this recorded talk by H. Rap Brown today, Imam Jamil. And he was like, you know, our people, man, we're gonna be patient with them because they are our people. So he was saying, like, man, our people got so much stuff that it makes you be like, man, the hell with niggas, man. Like, who else gonna take care of but us? You know? Yeah, Allah Mustafa, man. Allah Mustafa.
Yeah, we got to be careful not to fall into that. That's easy to fall into because of how hard the work is. You know, when you really sit back and look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm getting that.
Oh yeah, this is what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was
I'm
saying
saying
that fine.
the economic program, but go ahead. You know.
Oh no, I was saying all of these minority groups that come to this country, they have the same method, man. They carve out an area, they all move together, and they keep their money together. You know what I mean? And that's actually the American way, man. You carve out your territory, you set up your borders, and if you cross this line, I'll shoot you, and I got the right to. That's been the American way ever since this country been established. You know, everywhere, like you were saying, they got a little Italy, they got a Chinatown, you know, they got all these communities. Where's every city? I mean, we got the hood, but that's not sufficient. You know what I mean? We need to take that.
Nothing there.
That's the thing, because we don't own it.
We won't own nothing there in the hood.
But we can own it, and that's.
But we can do it.
We can do it. It is nothing to go back to your community, buy property, open businesses. We can do it. We just have to have the knowledge and know how to do it. I mean, be honest with you, I have more hope with this generation that's coming up because you see a lot more than you did before. A whole lot more, especially with social media and stuff. I see a lot of young blacks who are getting to the bag, man. And the main thing though was about ownership though. Like, so the next couple generations, I mean, we probably really old men before this happens, but it really could happen because you have more, like these new kids, they have access to much more information.
Yeah. And they thinking more like entrepreneurship than just being an employee. Yeah, they not trying to be employees. They be like, I'm trying to start business. I see that a lot at my job. A lot of the young kids that come there, they be like, I don't want to work here, man. I'm gonna get what I can, and then I'm probably gonna start my own business.
But look, man, I'm with it, but we really need to map that out. Like, I don't know if we're gonna call it a meeting or what, but I'm all for the economic development piece.
Well, I know CJ always have somebody that come to the shop, if y'all been paying attention, that always speak on certain things like that. It's just
I'm gonna try to get the brother. Remember I told you about the Alim joined the Abakis. I'm gonna try to get the brother who started it to do one of these with us. That's I'm gonna ask him
a seminar or something.
Not just a regular little Zoom video, just to get, cause he loved to talk. He loved to talk, but like this man, he put over 2,500 people in this country in that program and teaching them all how to make money in the stock market. You know what I'm saying, and how to pass that money down to the next generation and stuff. And be honest with you, I mean, that's what my point was. Like, protesting makes a statement, looting makes a statement, whether you like it or don't like it. But the real reality is, we need money, you know, and that's what it always boils down to. If you don't have no cash, and that's one thing, when you're going back to the Nation of Islam, that's one thing that they did, and they understood, like, more than anything, like, yo, we have to create our own path for making money without, and whether that was through the newspapers, the bean pies, the fish sandwiches, they figured out, look, this is what we're going to do. And then same thing with the Ansar movement, you know, man, where people, they said, look, this is what we're going to do in our community, and this don't got nothing to do with nobody else. The thing is, in black people nowadays, we still have a lot of, even just with beauty salons and barbershops, like we can, if we just controlled that, you know, and kept that in our community and funneled that and shared it with each other, we have mountains of money, but we make our money and then we spend it. Like all our money goes into consumption, buying bullshit, you know, and there's nothing wrong. I like having bullshit too, but you gotta invest your money too. And that's the thing. All right, bro. I mean, if everybody want to take a break and go pray real quick, you know what I mean? I don't want to make somebody stuff up. Huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a break too. But that's I keep losing my train of thought. But you know, this is one of the reasons why you know why it's important to have a nation, because as a nation you got certain principles and standards that you never forget as a nation. You know what I mean? And they took this ability away from us. Like you look at people, countries like the Chinese and stuff. There are things that they're never going to forget what people did to them, and they ain't protesting, but they doing stuff strategically. And part of that is getting revenge. You know what I mean? As a nation, you don't forget. When we don't have a nation, a concentrated nation, we tend to forget it and we disperse and everything is all over the place. But when you got a nation, you as a nation, you don't forget. And none of those nations forget, man. Japanese ain't forgetting what America did to them in camps. Chinese ain't forgetting what they did to them. And, you know, they working towards to make sure that they don't ever get the drop on them again. And we need that kind of model, man. You know, these people have been having a chokehold on us all these years. And although with all the advancements and the progress that we made, I mean, you see some of this stuff, man, you think it's 1968 right now.
Right.
You know?
No, like no, go ahead. No, I ain't.
But no, I was done.
Now on that note, since you mentioned Chinese, I gotta bring a quote from one of my shuyukh, Sun Tzu. I gotta bring a quote from Sun Tzu, Art of War. This is dealing with tactics. This is one thing we're not good with, tactics. He said, the good fighters of old first put themselves beyond the possibility of defeat and then waited for an opportunity of defeating the enemy. All right. They put themselves beyond the possibility of defeat and then waited for an opportunity of defeating the enemy. To secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands. Right? The opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. Thus, the good fighter is able to secure himself against defeat, but cannot make certain of defeating the enemy. Hence the saying, one may know how to conquer without being able to do it. I mean, it goes on, I ain't on, but basically the point is, like, the skillful fighter puts himself into a position which makes defeat impossible and does not miss the moment for defeating the enemy. Right? So he told me you build up. You got to build up first, man. And then that's kind of like the problem I got with the, you know, like looting is just corny because it's just from a, you know what I mean, build up, and then you already won. So then the enemy, you know, he'll give you the opportunity to defeat him if that's what you got to do. Hopefully you ain't got to fight. But the thing is, we got to do our part. You know, I know one thing we got to do for sure. We got to step up the dawah, man. Like I don't see as much dawah as there used to be. Dawah done went from I remember when I first became Muslim, we were always trying to get people to take shahada, man. That was like a big thing. You know, now dawah turned into like really, I guess what the Salafis made it is like giving dawah to other Muslims. You know, they're calling them to your madhab or your minhaj and all that kind of stuff. We have to get back into also bringing in some fresh blood, man. People with new perspective, and that also connects us to our people too, doing dawah.
Yeah, that's what I actually focus on, Haneef. Imam Haneef, I focus more on that. I don't focus on the Muslims. I focus more on the non-Muslims.
Right. Yeah, it's good.
Because Muslims in America make up 1%. So for every one of us, there's 99 of them that don't have a clue about Islam or have a perception of Islam from what the media.
You said 1%? One?
They say Muslims in America make up 1 to 2%.
Really?
Yeah,
Country.
in America.
I ain't know that low, man. I was thinking it was about like 6 or 10.
It's like 1 to 2%.
Yeah, I'm reading it here as of
Maybe that's possible.
2018, estimated 3.45 million Muslims, but that's of 2018. But
Well, who they counting? You know what I mean? It's like, who they really counting? I ain't signing nothing. I ain't signing a damn thing telling them, you know what I mean? I exist still. You know what I mean? How they get the estimations? We do meet up, man, and do something about that. Because, like I said, Amin was talking about that on my thread, you know. So everybody, a lot of us on the same mindset.
Yeah,
we just need to do it, man. We just need to do it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the first thing is like picking someone to actually lead you, and that's always the tricky part. And that's why I always said that if you taught people how to manage money, how to make money, how to share it, then the leadership part comes a little bit easier because everybody.
You gotta have a thorough program put together because you can't just have a leader. Leader, you have to have a mashura too. You know, the council that always you always consulting and you kind of keep them in line because like just the leader thing, we ain't, you know,